she started out by saying, disowned for the mistakes of my father. So she was disowned because, or she is disowned still because of the mistakes that her father made. A subscriber of mine sent me a letter here, and I need your comments in the comments section because this person is reaching out. I've taken so long to do the video on this that this person has asked me to do that. I think she's probably a little bit heated, or maybe not, but here goes. Late but better than never. Alright, welcome to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most. So hear this. Hi SouFlo, I have finally found the time to tell you my situation. I was born in 1970 and I have 4 younger step-siblings on my father's side. My father migrated to Canada in 1972. Whenever he would return to Jamaica on vacation, he would always visit me. In fact, my first time to Duns River around the age of 6, he was the one who took my aunt and I. He broke up with my mother before I had enough sense to even remember. My mother was an independent woman, and I remember my mother, aunt and grandmother having to urge her to ask my father for money for me because my mother wanted nothing from him for me. As a single parent, she was the one who paid for me to have a private school education until it came time for my mother to migrate. For summers, I would spend my summers in Canada with my father. My mother got married, and as a child, without a choice, I had to migrate in 1983. Y'all following so far? Financially, it wasn't a problem when I migrated. My mother's ex-husband made life the living hell for my mother and I. So financially, it wasn't a problem, but he made okay, so it wasn't a problem financially. But mom's ex-husband, I guess the mom divorced, made life the living hell for my mother and I. Typical story of leaving Jamaica and heading overseas to people who say, come on, I'm going to fight for you and help you till you get on your feet. And then you reach and they kick you out in the snow up to your neck, right? Right. Alright. To save face, my family only told my father that I would hit my stepfather. And that's what caused that, right? However, they kept the fact that my stepfather was abusive to my mother and I, and whenever I laid a hand on him as a teenager, it was in defense for my mother. So in other words, then stepfather did a fight off mummy, beating up mummy, and she as a teenage girl was there trying to help mummy, right? If I had the same situation today, I would still defend my mother. From the stories that others told my father, I noticed that the more I would visit him, the colder he became. That's weird. I would get closer to my daughter because I would want to know if she's being molested, because if he's beating the mom in front of my daughter, then what is he doing to my daughter, right? But she said her dad, the more the families told her, but they weren't telling the dad the whole story. They were just telling the dad that she's the cause of it. She's the rebellious teen in the house. Because then, I guess the dad probably was saying, yo, man, I want her to come mash up my marriage. Before then, things were fine between my father and I. The only issue we had was, on my first visit to see him, he wanted me to take pictures, and I was depressed because I wanted to visit my mother in America, and the U.S. Embassy in Canada had denied me from crossing to see her. I would let you know that my mom and I were very close. Anyway, my father wanted me to take pictures, and I told him that I wasn't going to pose for pictures. He asked me several times, and I told him until he picked me up and slammed me on the hood of the car to take pics. The next day, he said that he wanted to take me clothes and back to school shopping for Jamaica. And I told him that I didn't want to go shopping. So Flo, by the time I landed in Jamaica after my vacation, there was a rumor that was created by my father saying that he had asked me to go clothes shopping, and I told him that he should keep his dirty money. This was the first time that my father told lies on me. It comforts me to know that God is my witness. In 1988, I left my mother. Now I'm saying to myself, let me pause for a second. I'm saying to myself, it's 2019. And this issue is affecting this young lady so much, or this woman so much, right? Some things that people go through, the scars stay with them for life, man. Even when they get older, and sometimes the older they get is the more intense it gets, right? Let me carry on now. His friends, okay, keep in mind that I was sent to live with him in Canada when things got really bad between steps. So this was the first time that my father told lies on me. It comforts me to know that God is my witness. In 1988, I left my mother's home at the age of 18 because I couldn't handle the abuse towards my mom and I from her husband, which is my stepfather. I became pregnant at 18 and my father was very upset. Keep in mind that I was sent to live with him in Canada when things got really bad between my stepfather and my mother and I. And my father allowed his friend to talk him out of me living with him. His friend claimed that I have been living with my mom and it's not fair for my mom to throw me on my father. So I came back to the US to the physical and emotional help, courtesy of my stepfather. So, by me leaving my mom's house on my 18th birthday with 50 cents to my name, of course my father and my family in Jamaica had to pass their negative remarks and throw a few lies in the mix. I was worse than depressed. Anyways, I sent a pic of my son to my father and he sent it back. I furthered my education and worked with a major airline. I had my second son in 1996. So she had one in 88, 89, 91, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9 years later she had her second son. That's not bad. She had furthered her education. She got a career field going with a major airline, and then she had another child. Thank God that throughout my life I have never broken the law, never dealt drugs, never taken drugs, never sold my body. I was blessed by God to raise two real black progressive young men. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2009, and for a moment my doctors thought I might need a bone marrow transplant because one of the tests came back showing some type of issue. I forgot the term that the doctor used. I had lost touch with my father, and by this time I was working from home as a computer technician. I had completed my degree in criminal justice and merged into criminal law. SouFLo, I tried to stay on the narrow because I had to be an example for my sons. I could understand if I was of no use. I asked my sister to have my father call me to see if he could donate bone marrow for me, and my father told my sister to tell me no. He was not willing to do so. By this time my dear mother had passed, so I couldn't ask her to be a donor. God is great, because further testing proved after all that I didn't need the transplant anyways. Years went by and my father's mom died. My youngest son and I attended the funeral in Jamaica, and my father's sister told me that my father pissed her off by asking, "What is she doing here?" Speaking of her, me. When I returned to the US, I decided to call my dad a while after and ask him for a DNA test after he had denied me to my eldest son. He said that the DNA test was not necessary because I am his child, and it's not my fault that he's not speaking to me, it's more his fault. He apologized for his absence in my life and also for not even calling me when mommy died. He said the reason why he denied me to my son and stayed away from me was because he got my mom pregnant at 18 years old, and my brother was also born August of that same year, and he was embarrassed. He was hiding me from his wife and my youngest sister because he fears them knowing that he has a daughter that is my age and have two children born the same year outside of his marriage. So his wife knows about all his other children. I'm always excluded from all the family gatherings. I'm excluded from everything concerning my father. He even begged me not to tell her that I exist. SouFlo, I have kept this secret, but it hurts. I still cry about this. I'm not a sketch artist because I'm too sick to keep a job outside my home. I now have 3 autoimmune illnesses, and the stress about the situation with my dad is a big burden. Stress makes my illness worse. I want to know if you or your audience can advise me on whether or not I should tell his wife. I don't want a dime from my father because I don't need it. I am blessed. I can't bear this pain from my father. I feel like less of a human, and I ask the question, why me? Just to let you know, my father is a big-time usher in the church. Here we go again. Here we go again. My father is a big-time usher in the church. Keep me anonymous, please. Hugs to Kai Kai. Yah bless. And keep you and your family. Sorry for the long epistle. There's so much more, but I don't want to be obnoxious. And of course, I'm going to keep her anonymous. Alright? I wish she had told me some more. This was reading like reading a novel, honestly. But this is somebody's life. I can show you from out here. It's a whole big set of writing, but I don't want to get too and put her whole business out there because she wants to be anonymous. Right? Here's the thing. A deacon. This is the story that these are the things that I talk about when I say these people live these undercover lives. And it's just like the guy who knows that he's gay. That's why he's jumping on, and a pedophile, and he's jumping on this lady's 15-year-old son when he's supposed to be the pastor, doing a good thing for a church sister, taking her son to go school shopping because she's probably working too much as a single mom and not able to do it, right? And he has a wife and a child at home. And he's preaching, God is gonna do it in church, right? And he is the senior pastor of this predominant church. But yet, this is his secret. Here is her father now, an usher. Same thing, trying to hide the fact that you had 2 children born in the same year outside of your marriage. So you were whoring and touring, right? You was slinging stick everywhere. 2 in the same year outside your marriage. And now your child has to live her life in hiding, not able to celebrate times with her father, so you're going to rob her of a life without a dad. She's already lost her mom. She's grown now. She's doing well on her own, but no relationship with her. And she has to keep you a secret her entire life. And you're now still, she's a grown woman now. She's born in 1970. So she's a grown woman now. And you're begging her to not tell your wife, just to save face. So she's not allowed to come to any gatherings, nothing that has to do with you. She has to pretend that she don't know you like that. What says you, audience? What says you? Here is my advice, right? And tell me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. I would neatly approach his wife and I would say, listen, I have something to tell you that's been bothering me for years, right? Because this one right here I think would be good for her soul. Because now she's saying she has 3 autoimmune diseases and they're exacerbated by stress. So I'm trying to unburden some stress. So I would approach his wife and I would let her know, listen, I'm not trying to destroy your marriage. I'm not trying to come into your family. I'm not even trying to be a part of. Right? But I want you to know that that man right there has children outside of your marriage. and I am one of them. And of course she's going to say, does he know that he's your dad? Or your mom told you so? And I'm going to say, no, he knows he's my dad. I used to spend time with him. He used to spend time with me. We communicate. He has begged me not to tell you this. But he's never going to tell you. And I need it to be out there in the open. I feel like I'm being robbed. I feel like there is something that's wrong with me, why my father has to hide me from everybody else, and I have to deny that he's my dad for my whole life, while everybody else goes around parading their father. Father's Day, they can celebrate whether their dad's dead or alive. Rest in peace, daddy. Or today is Father's Day, let me give daddy a call, buy him 2 balloon flowers and them thing there, and I can't do any of that. I feel robbed. So I'm just letting that out there. That's my advice to her. Do it. What says you? Leave your comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one, and do you think that I gave her the right advice? And if that was you, what would you do? It's SouFLoTV, man. Don't forget, this is a community. We help each other out whichever way we can. Words are powerful. Keep your comments clean and leave them in the comment section below. I'll try to answer every single one of y'all. I'll see you there. Peace.